The Sweet Sound of Success show is brought to you by the Mentor Studio. The Mentor Studio is an exclusive mentoring and training program for social influencers, business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, and startups, bringing personal development to the underserved around the world. And brought to you by Success Strategists. Simple strategies that work to develop your business with flow and ease using proven strategies and the right tactics. This is the Sweet Sound of Success with Sue Wilhite, Success Attraction Expert. Corine La Font serves as a PR and communications specialist, self-publishing consultant, and podcast host. Prior to returning home to Trinidad in 2017, she resided in Jamaica for 21 years, where she wrote as a columnist for the Jamaica Gleaner, a national daily newspaper, which landed her on national TV and radio. Corine leads her own business, La Font and Associates, and hosts her podcast, Between the Lines, on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please welcome Corine La Font.
Well, it's good to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. This is awesome.
You're very welcome. We did a little trade here. I got to be on your show and you get to be on mine. So
that's right.
This is
that's
good.
Right.
I love with other podcast hosts. So for those of my audience who have not encountered my show before, the format of this is really simple. We're using 5 pieces out of Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey cycle. Now there's 16 of them. Ordinarily, we're not doing them all. We're doing the 5 that I think are really cool for an entrepreneurial journey. And that has to do with the always amusing ordinary beginning, because no entrepreneur is ordinary. The call to action. What prompted our entrepreneur to get into being an entrepreneur? The big hairy monsters, because for entrepreneurs, we have our own set of stuff. Sometimes it's the things that propelled us. It's our call to action into the entrepreneurial world. And sometimes it's the things we get to deal with afterwards. And sometimes we just get to dance with our own beautiful set of big hairy monsters that come up for us in life. And fortunately for entrepreneurs, because we never do it by ourselves, it is all about guides, allies, mentors, coaches, hand holders, wind beneath our wings, the folks that help us through the dark patches, that guide us, that teach us, all of those folks. I love hearing about that because that is so important to an entrepreneur's journey. And then finally, the journey home. And the journey home is all of those wonderful things that pop up when you're an entrepreneur and perhaps other people aren't in your life. And it gets a little dicey sometimes. How do you deal with that? Maybe it's great. Maybe everybody in your family is an entrepreneur and they love it. And other times they don't so much. Corine La Font, what was your ordinary beginning?
Oh, thank you for that question. Nothing, as you said, I agree with you. No one is ordinary and nothing that they do is ordinary. Now, I have always been, the personality is one of, I like working in my own space. Not that I don't like to work with teams, but I like the idea of being able to travel anywhere I want in the world and be able to work. I don't like to be confined to an office or confined to hours. So the whole consultancy approach where you give me an assignment, you tell me what time you need it by, we work out a mutual agreement in terms of that time, but you leave it to me to decide when I want to work. It's not you watch me from 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or whatever it is. Right. We know that model doesn't work. People can fool themselves into it, but it doesn't work. And it's just not my personality. I don't like being boxed in or put in a frame. So even when I did my master's back in 2003, it was about virtual work. Of course, back then, nobody knew about virtual work. So I was probably the only person thinking that way.
Wow.
The phrase telecommuting was being passed around, but a lot of people still didn't know what it was. And I had one person, can you imagine doing your thesis in your master's and you have to present data and information and there's nobody who's doing it? And I had one friend who was doing it sort of in her job, and I had to use her as my test piece to put it forward. And it was difficult for my professor to understand because I got a lot of challenges from him. But I was determined from then, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to work. And we're talking 20 plus years of a vision.
Right.
Okay. So now when people are talking 2 years ago with the pandemic about virtual work,
Right.
I am like, where have you been?
Right.
Where have you been? Just because you are now told to work from home doesn't mean you understand what work from home entails. It is not the same. Okay. You might think, okay, they send me home for 2-3 days and I work, from home. No, it's not, it's much greater than that. And so I had this vision for my life and how I wanted to work because I wanted that freedom. Okay. I wanted to make money from all over the world in various currencies, euros, US, Caribbean dollars, because I'm in the Caribbean. I wanted that and I started doing that. And I can say I have lived that and still living that. And so this was my ordinary beginning. And what prompted me, I started doing research because remember I was doing research for my master's. So I started doing research for virtual. It was even difficult to even find information online on the internet. And yes, the internet was around at that time, but it was difficult to find anything that could resonate with what I was putting together in my mind, my vision, my reality. But I came upon this association, amazingly, called the International Virtual Assistants Association in the US. And listen to me, when I saw that and I read up on the description, I was like, yes, I found the place. This is where I felt like home. And it was so funny. The time that I read up on them and, go through all their information, I was like, this can't be real. I mean, it is real, but it can't be real. I'm like, whoa. And I saw other people being featured, working in virtual, in a virtual environment. And I'm like, hold on, they're running a business, working virtually from anywhere in the world doing this thing. And they were having a conference, an online conference. First time, I'm doing this thing, online conference where you can attend from anywhere in the world. I'm like, whoa, I signed up immediately to attend the conference. And I can tell you soon, I heard about publishing. At that time, ebooks was new. It was a new thing. Nobody knew what it was. Because people were just used to traditional books, go in a bookstore, that type of thing.
Right.
Traditional houses, publishing houses, big five, all of that. And because I'm coming from a writing background, I'm very good at that. And I was like, I need to find something that can resonate with me. And this speaker called Jan B. King at the time, she had her own publishing company. You're smiling, it seems as if you know who I'm talking about.
Jan, yes.
Jan came on and she spoke and listened to me, and she's passed now. God rest her soul. And she came on and she spoke and listened to me. That I was like on fire after I heard her session back in 2010. My master's was in 2003. So you can imagine between 2003 to 2010, I'm looking and searching. 2010, I attended that online conference and I never looked back since then. I signed up to attend the conference. I listened to Jan's session. I went to other sessions, but Jan's session, it just was like everything that I wanted to conceptualize reality, I saw the dots. Yes, the fear came in a bit, but I wasn't worried about it. I was like, if Jan is doing this and I'm in an association where other people are doing this thing, it's all over the world. It's like I could see it. I could literally see, I felt, listen to me. So I signed up for Jan's course. She has a course for professional virtual authors assistant and professional speakers, virtual speakers. I didn't hesitate. signed up as a professional virtual artist assistant, the training, I did it, I got my certificate. Can you imagine how excited I was to get my certificate? Did the exam, there was an online test, everything to, And it so happened that after a while, I mean, everybody knew me with Jan's course because I'm quite interactive, that I actually won. She did some sort of giveaway thing, and I actually won the other course for free, professional virtual speaker assistant. So I can do both, and I'm very good at doing both because both of them tie in quite well together. And that was my ordinary beginning. It might not sound ordinary to somebody listening right now, but that was the ordinary beginning, just from a inner desire of wanting to work a particular way. And I would, I would encourage persons who are listening or watching this, you have a desire. Know that it is very possible. It is real. That's your reality. What you see is not your reality, and it doesn't have to be your reality. It's what you see in your mind, what you desire in your heart is your reality, and you can make it possible. And from that, I never look back. My one fear, like I said, was to get clients, but we will come to that question based on the structure of your podcast. We will get to that question, about allies and so on. But I just wanted to share my ordinary, quote unquote, ordinary beginning, because it was no way ordinary. I think, and I know that the universe just put everything in place to allow it to work hand in hand that way. And I said yes. Like I say to people, when you desire something, just say yes. And everything is going to fall into place for you.
So I have to share what is truly extraordinary about this. So as some of my viewers might know, I'm a law of attraction coach, right? So everything you're saying about, the universe just lines up for you, gives you what you really desire is, that's a central tenet of my personal belief. Now, here's what's really funny. Not only was Jan King one of my mentors when I went to go publish my book back in 2007, 2006 was when I met her, and she helped me along the way in getting my book self-published and forming my own publishing company. And last year during the pandemic, in March of 2020, I was one of the keynote speakers for the International Virtual Assistants Association virtual conference.
Well, can I add to that? Since attending that conference, I became a member. Obviously, it just goes. I became a member for many years. I became a volunteer on different committees. I worked in the back end, all the technology. So this is what I'm saying to people. When people are talking working from home, they don't understand. It requires a certain discipline, a certain mindset, a certain level of technology use, familiarity, and comfort, okay? And setting aside a certain space, your space, everything. It involves a whole lot of that. And putting things in place in terms of payment gateways and your word, everything, your word processing, your everything. So, I was on the back end as a member of IVA. I was in the back end, so I learned a lot of stuff. I was part of committees, so I interacted with a lot of people. I became the host of the coffee chat for years, moderating, facilitating, and hosting and helping other small businesses to grow, sharing tips and so on. So people used to come on, I think it was on a Mondays, every other Monday or so. So I was doing that for years. And you mentioned being a speaker. I was also a speaker for a few years in their conferences and whenever they had workshops or training or anything like that. So, that was my beginning. And when I look at what's happening with the pandemic now and how things have spun around, because when before we would have told persons we're working from home, you would look down on. But now everybody's looking up to people who are working from home.
Right.
And so, I'm like full circle. I said, look at that. 20-something years later, I am back full circle, to IVA, because I'm looking back at IVA again because I'm no longer a member. But I actually registered for their coffee chats because, the coffee chats allow anybody to attend, whether you're a member or not, and just be a part of it again.
Yeah.
I'm like, should I rejoin the association and get back involved? Meet my peeps again, because some people are still there, and some people will still remember my name, and just get back and give back again. But it's full circle 20 something years later. It's amazing.
Yes, it is. Isn't it great?
Yes. And look at it. I never knew that in terms of your background. So when I mentioned Jan, and I realized, oh, she's nodding her head. She must know Jan. This is awesome. This is awesome.
And the universe brings you people that you need to meet, right? And I just think it's great that completely unknown, I swear to you, before we booked this, unfortunately, I'd never heard of Corine. Really sad, but I hadn't, until I saw her guest request. And now we find that we have this really deep background. This is what the universe does. This is what the law of attraction is all about. And
that's right.
And I'm trying not to giggle and get all fangirl about it.
It creates that excitement in you, Sue.
Yes.
It creates that excitement. Because look at it, I put out a request, like you said, a guest request to be on my show. And of all the people, you came on, and then reciprocating, here am I on your show. And we didn't know all of this about each other at the time. Even when I interviewed you, this was not
it didn't come up.
No.
Yes.
So you could imagine, just for relationships, just to kind of digress a little bit, in relationships and meeting people, sometimes it's not to question why. There is a reason why you met that person at that time, or you're involved with a particular person, and I don't push it. You have to keep asking, what's the connectivity? Why did this person come into my life? And just let it go. Allow it to flow, and it will be revealed to you. Now, we are saying today that there is a connection there because we share that, but it could go deeper than this, Sue. We just don't know. It can go deeper than this.
Yes. And Joseph Campbell even said that you can't look at the structure of your life within it. You have to look back and see where all the dots connected. And so I just go, oh, cool, another dot. Yeah, let's go.
Oh, cool, another dot.
Later. So I think we actually got both your ordinary beginning and your call to action, because you had an internal call to action. You knew what you wanted to do. You were really clear that this is what you wanted to do. And the universe lined up, gave it to you, and just, boom, there we go. So,
and mind you, I had no idea. I just did it because my heart and soul resonated, but I didn't know what was coming after, what I needed to do next, where the clients, how am I making money? I just knew it was a lucrative thing. I felt it. I just knew I would have been successful. I just knew it. I had no evidence. I have no evidence to prove that, but I just felt it. I just knew it.
And so what were some of the big hairy monsters that you got to deal with? We've talked a lot about the joy and delightfulness part of it, but let's go a little bit deeper and talk about some of them.
They were hairy, yes. How hairy I can't say, because I'm not getting too close to anything too hairy, but the thing about it is, there were people, just like when you're going into anything, you want to ask people their opinion. That's wrong. Let me just say to anybody, that's wrong. Don't ask anybody their opinion. You want to do something, you follow your intuition. If you want to ask anybody anything, ask your intuition. Don't ask another human being. So I went and I did the traditional thing and asked people who I trusted, who I have respect for, who qualified educationally, all the traditional things. And I said, I want to do this publishing thing, self-publishing, with books. And I mentioned it was ebooks, and I want to get into that. And the person said, no, that's not going to make any money. We're going to this, and a whole lot of cold water on it. And I said to myself, I could tell you my exact feeling. I was disappointed. Of course, I started to feel a little bit damper in my spirit, just a little. And then I said, Corine, why are you asking anybody permission to do what you felt to do? Why are you giving them that permission in your life? who are they to say anything? Really, they are not familiar with it. You have attended the training, you have met the people, Jan is doing it. She has been successful. Who are they to really have a say? And then I said, you know what? I'm the type of person that goes against what people say, really. So I just, I said, you know what? This is my challenge. This is my challenge. If I fail, let's call it fail or whatever, it's on me. It's not on anybody. I don't want to look back. I think I said that in my mind. I don't want to look back and say, I should have done this. Right. I listened to Sue when I called Sue my friend. I listened to Sue and I don't want to have to say that. I say so, but I want to be able to say, I tried. And what if, and the other side came out. What if I am successful? What then? As opposed to thinking, oh, it's not going to work. You're going to fail. You're not going to get clients. We're going to get clients from blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I am going to think this way. I am going to get clients. I'm going to get money from all over the world. I'm going to build a clientele. Everything is going to be fine. I choose to think that way. And I just stuck with that. And of course, I'm sitting here with you today, Sue, clearly, because it must have worked out in some way or form.
It did. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. And that's I put a slight qualifier on the asking people opinions. Ask for people's opinions who've done what you want to do. Don't ask who have never done that.
And I agree with you to some extent. Even the people who have done it, I am not going to base what my life, my destiny could be based on theirs.
Right.
So I say altogether, ask no one. Follow your intuition and let that guide you, because it never guides you wrong. And if you do something, it's between you, yourself, and your intuition. You don't have to account to anybody else. You're not below 18. You are an adult. You don't need permission. If you have the money, it's your money. If it goes down the drain, so what? The main thing is that you would have done something that that person may not have done, or even if they have, they didn't do it the way you have done it, because the time they did it was a different time, different resources, different technology, different personality, different approach. Who says that when I try it wouldn't be better than when the person did it?
Exactly. Yes. But I will always say, never talk to anybody who hasn't done it.
Agreed. 100%. Yeah, 100%. That's for sure. That's for sure.
And the only, I guess I would modify what I would say in that if I had a very specific question for someone who's done it before, it's like, okay, I want to do this. Here's this little tweak. What do you think? Because I'm just getting a read, but I would never ask somebody's permission to do something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But when you're having that conversation with somebody, it is always interpreted on that and as if you're seeking their permission. I'm not, and let's get that clear. I'm not seeking your permission. I just want to get, what was your experience on this? Do you have any tips to share based on your experience?
Yes.
I am not asking your permission. And if you have a problem with that, then let's hang up now.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, but I'm not seeking your permission.
Yes, 100%. So given that, who are some of the folks who did give you good advice, good, guides, coaches, mentors? And Jan, obviously, Jan King, bless her, is one of the most divine beings on the planet.
Oh, yes.
Who else?
I will call her name. Her name is Donna. She's a member. I don't know if she still is. I think she is. Donna is was a member of IVA at the time. She's from Canada. And I reached out to her because we were all attending the conference and, interacting with people. And, I became a member. And so, we started to chat. And I reached out to Donna. I said, Donna, I don't know, because I think things were getting a bit dicey. I can't remember how long I had officially started the business. I don't know if I was still in training with Jan to become officially a professional virtual artist assistant. But I reached out to Donna and I said, you know, I'm feeling a bit of fear stepping in. And she said this to me, and I have never forgotten. And this is what motivates me as well. She said, Corine, do not worry. You will get one person, and I can assure you, and she said, I will promise you this. Once you get one person, the rest is going to come. She said, get one. Once you get the one, once that one come to you, the rest is going to come. I promise you that. Those were her words. Yeah. And I said, Donna, it come like, I don't know, something, as I said, just like when I heard John talk, it resonated. When I heard Donna say that to me, there was a stillness, a peace, a quiet. And I said, Donna, I believe you. I said, Donna, I believe you. And that was the end of the conversation. I believe you. Yeah. And I just, we talked probably other things, but that never came up again. I never questioned it. I never talked to anybody else. I never went back to Donna. I think I went back to her when I got my first client. I said, Donna, I got my first client. And she's like, you see, I told you. And from then it was from more, because I don't advertise my business. I don't spend money advertising, because I had put in my reality that I didn't want to spend money advertising. I wanted true referrals. Persons must refer business to me, and that is how I get business. That is how I get, yes, I would do other things, you know, like blogs and other, what would you call, like passive sort of marketing, but nothing that I had to spend money on. No Facebook ads, no LinkedIn ads, no nothing. I never liked it. I never did it. I never put ads in the newspaper. Nothing. It was through my client base that referred business to me, which means I was doing a pretty good job, I would think, having very good relationships with people, just like persons who come on my podcast Between the Lines, and they just refer people to me because of their experience that they have. And sometimes they are repeat guests. I have people who keep coming on my show just because of that, you know, and that's how I set it. So I created my reality, and I want to reemphasize that again. Your reality is not what you see. Mm-hmm. What you see with your physical eyes, that's not reality, people. Don't be fooled. Your reality is what you have in here, in your mind. And even though I point in here, but your mind is not really here, you know, but it is what you see in your mind's eye, you know, it is what you see, and you make it a reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
So I would say Donna, besides John, Donna, and just believe in myself, because even my family, my spouse at the time, couldn't understand. My mother still can't understand even to this day, you know, this whole thing about sitting home and working from home. I told her this pandemic has really opened up people's minds to working from home, because prior to 2 years ago, it was the worst thing ever. They think it's lazy. How could you be home making money? What are you doing? You know, I really, you know, I really saw it as envy, honestly, that they just couldn't have the life that we have.
Yes.
Where we could be waking up at whatever time, and we had the comfort of traveling and, you know, cooking and spending time with the guys or going out, but yet you're making money. How is that? When I'm sitting down behind a desk every day from 8 to 5, hating it, my boss is treating me horribly, my co-workers don't like me, I hate this job, I hate driving to work, and I'm like, I'm smiling every day.
Right.
So,
why wouldn't you?
Right? How could you be a happy lark and making money? Happiness and working don't go together. That's what they thought.
No. Working should bring you joy. Working at what you love, working, making a difference, contributing,
of course,
should bring you so much joy.
If you enjoy what you're doing, you enjoy what you're doing, because you're not supposed to feel like you're working. If you feel like you're working, something is wrong. Right. Something is wrong. From the time you sort of feel, And it happens in my business. If I find, oh hell, I don't like doing this aspect of my business, I'm like, ding, ding, ding. I need to outsource that. I need to stop doing that. Anything in my business that I don't like doing, and I have evolved my business over the years. As you mentioned in my intro, I'm into PR, public relations and communications, because I've evolved. I still offer the publishing services because it is part of PR, but I have evolved. And why that happened is because I realized there were things that I didn't like doing. So for example, like editing and certain things of manuscripts, even though might still do it, but I really don't. There are other parts I want to spend my time on. And the whole point of being an entrepreneur really, Sue, is to share the love, to bring joy, and to enjoy, and to spend time with the people that you love, including yourself. People that you love don't only mean your spouse and children. I want to spend time with me. I love me. I want to do that. Yes. Okay. And I want, when I do that I'm not stressed. Right. I'm not tight. I want to be able to do that. Yeah.
Yes. 100%. And so you actually already covered, I think, the journey home part of the.
I did? Oh my goodness.
You talked about your mom going, what are you doing? Your family being, I think you called it a little bit jealous, maybe a little bit envious. You were doing what they said couldn't be done and couldn't be done successfully. Mm-hmm. And their judgment about you being lazy was obviously, all of those things had to burst like balloons.
It's envy. It's envy. It's envy. It's envy, because they couldn't understand, how could you be, people would say to me, when I grow up, I want to be like you, travel. And these are adults, traveling, making money, doing this. How because remember, in a traditional work setting, you're supposed to apply for your vacation. You get a certain amount of days for the year. You can't take it here. You work overtime. You don't know if you're going to get paid for it. Whereas for us, we could take off when we want. Why? Because technology is everywhere.
And we never need to ask. For raise. Never need to ask for a raise.
We don't need to ask anybody nothing. No. Right? And we don't have a cap on the amount of time we could take time off. Yeah. So I think it's envy, really.
Yes.
Yes. I think it's envy. And now they're a part of the so-called work from home in their minds, in their concept. They're like, "Ooh, I've now joined you guys," but no, you haven't. You don't know the full spectrum of what working from home entails. You don't.
Well, thank you, Corine. This has been a fabulous interview. I am so glad that we connected some dots.
Oh, yes.
It's been so much fun to do this. This is literally delightful. The connections between us. This is what happens. The law of attraction pulls together people that need to be together. That's just the way it works.
I'm just another dot. Another dot, and we're connecting those dots too. We're connecting the dots.
Exactly. So thank you, Corine. And thank you to my viewers and listeners on the Sweet Sound of Success.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. What are your dreams for your business? You know what drives me crazy?
really smart business owners denying their talents because they've been taught it has to be hard, because they've been taught that they don't deserve their gifts, that they're not worth anything. They've been taught that their gender means they can't express their genius. I'm Sue Wilhite, and I want you to have access to your genius. I want you to go out and rock the world with your genius. So I created the Call to Action coaching program. It's all about getting to the heart of you and what you've got to share with the world to make a profitable business that thrives and allows you to make a difference in the world. Click the link to sign up for the Call to Action coaching program today. Don't let your genius go unnoticed.